Hello everybody, welcome back to Leeds TV. It's Conor here with your post-match review of the Barnsley game. I couldn't get one out yesterday, unfortunately, because I was at the game. Went out for a couple afterwards in Sheffield, which, if you don't know, is where I've relocated, hence the different background. You can only see a little bit of it right now, but I know you guys love to comment on the background, so let's get it out of the way. Let's get it out of the way straight away. This red sofa, I apologise. It might feature in a lot of the videos unless I move the setting around a little bit, which I can do, so don't panic. I know a lot of you will comment on that. I apologise for the colour. It was here when I got here, so that's all I can say. A little disclaimer for you guys. But anyway, the channel is also closing in on 10,000 subscribers, which is absolutely mental. Thank you so much for your support, and it just shows the Leeds United family how loyal and how fantastic you all are. You watch our every video, you hang on our every word. God knows why, because we're just local lot like you lot. You know, we just give our opinions on the game, and the fact that it's near 10,000 subscribers, thank you so much for your continued support. I think we're on 9.91k as I'm looking at it right now, so if we could hit that by, you know, even just the end of the month, that would be absolutely astronomical for the channel and for us guys, and thank you so much. I just wanted to put that out there first of all, because listen, without you guys the channel would be nothing, and we'd just be speaking into a webcam to absolutely nobody, which I would probably do by myself anyway, because I'm just that passionate about Leeds United. But anyway, enough waffle, let's get into the game. I went to the game yesterday, and it was what a game. You know, it was Barnsley came and they wanted to conquer. I did a pre-match with the Barnsley lads. If you haven't checked that out, please make sure you check that out. It's a really interesting sort of non-biased view. If you are a Barnsley fan, hello, welcome to the channel. But listen, it was crucial. They came at us with absolute fire and fury. They've not been great this season. They've had a bad start, to be honest, because they've had a favourable run. Not every game in the Championship is easy, but they've had a favourable run. Where you don't want West Brom, Brentford, Leeds United, those sort of teams. They've had Luton, you know. They've had Charlton at home. They've had Carlisle in the cup, you know. They've had Wigan. They've had a decent start to the season, and for where they are, it's not been a great start for Barnsley. And we had this discussion with the lads the other day as well. The problem is, they're always going to get up for this game, no matter what. This is going to be their best performance of the season. I was saying this to the lads beforehand. This game is where Barnsley are going to show up. They are 100% going to show up. It's their biggest game of the season. It is theoretically their cup final. It is one of those games on the calendar that Barnsley look for 100%. It's Wednesday, it's Leeds, always. You know, and it was reflected in the game. It was a 12:30 kickoff. I got there a little bit earlier on. We had a few pints. It was a good atmosphere. And listen, it was all good round the ground. Obviously, that changed a little bit later on, which I'm going to go on to in a second. Leeds started in second gear, as we seem to do in first halves, which grates on me massively because, you know, it's a 90-minute game. If we get our foothold on the game, you know, we start playing our stuff, teams aren't going to be able to cope. But in the preview, I turned round and I said, you know what, if Barnsley come blow for blow with us, we're going to pick them off. In the end, we did. But I tell you what, they really came at us. And, you know, for this whole ethos and philosophy of Leeds United, that if you come at us, we're going to be able to pick you off with quality football. You're going to leave more gaps. You're going to leave more space. They have the exact same thing. Daniel Stendel with this Guggenheim German sort of press has influenced Barnsley in a completely different way. And they are very similar to Leeds. Very similar to Leeds. They deploy the high press. They're very good on the ball. You know, they're comfortable in midfield. And they've had a lot of injuries as well. So for them to come out and put a first half performance out like that, you know, where it was very even for me. It was blow for blow. And it was worrying. It really was worrying because you always know there's going to be a reaction in the second half for Leeds. I mean, I don't know what it is with these second halves, but we always seem to come out and we're a different team in the second half. And that did follow the same pattern. But Barnsley had chances, you know, Malik Wilkes forcing good saves. We had big chances as well. You know, Bamford had to get on the score sheet again. Yeah, I mean, Bamford for me, he was good yesterday. He was good. Halmer got the rub of the green from the referee. I could not believe how many times he had his arms around Bamford. There was a couple of times where Bamford just stood there and went like that. What else can I do, ref? What else can I do? But what I like is he's fighting. He's fighting with centre-backs now, whereas last season we saw with Richard Keogh, for example, Bamford would lightweight, just let him run past him. And that'll be an interesting battle next weekend when he comes up against Goggle Eyes. But listen, he was good. He was wrestling with the defender. It's Halmo's 6'6". You know, he's a complete monster of a defender height-wise. But Leeds were able to get into the game a little bit further on, but I'm touching on Bamford in particular because he was the focal point. He was, when we were under pressure, when Barnsley were giving us that high press, he was the focal point. He's the one you look for, and he was doing a great job. He was doing a really great job, but chances-wise, he should have scored. He had to score with that chance where there's no one near him. He was essentially one-on-one. And he missed, you know, and it was a pretty lazy effort from Bamford. I'm not being harsh on that one. He's got to score that, you know, either side of the keeper it goes in, and Bamford's not a finisher. He's not a lethal finisher, which sounds bonkers when you're talking about a striker. And when I say it out loud, it does sound bonkers, but he's not a lethal finisher. And anytime sort of Bamford's in that position, I don't get excited because I know he's not clinical enough for me. You know, he's a 1-in-3, 1-in-4 striker. You know, we might see him score next week against Derby. He might not score next week against Derby, and he might score in the following game. He's a 1-in-4 striker for me, or 3, you know, on a good patch of games. But he had an offside goal ruled out, did Patrick, and it was touch and go. You know, I spoke to some Barnsley fans afterwards who said it was a clear offside. It wasn't a clear offside at all. I think Costa was about a shoelace offside, which, you know, in a lot of games in every season, that is just every weekend. That is just given. So it was a very, very close call. The line was very high. Costa stayed on side for a lot of it. You could see him and Cavari on that side, and it must have been a shoelace because it was Costa who was offside apparently, and it wasn't a lot. You know, it really wasn't a lot. And I thought when Costa and Eddie came on, obviously Eddie comes on a little bit later on, but Costa came on, the dynamic of the game changed massively. Leeds had an outlet, Barnsley were retreating, and you could see in the second half they changed drastically, as did Leeds. Leeds came on. We really came on, and we were very offensively good. We were sort of getting the ball and driving at Barnsley. In that first 15, 20 minutes, I've no idea how we didn't score. It was just a barrage of attacks. And Barnsley turned into this team that was going blow for blow into a team that was sitting back and getting ready to hit us on the counter-attack, which we face every single week in the Championship. So their tactic derived a little bit. It changed, which I thought actually hindered them. If they'd have come blow for blow in the second half, who knows what could have happened. They still had chances in the second half as well. But the first half, you know, Thomas having a chance, Wilkes having a chance. Halmer had a header, which was close in the second half. He had 2 headers, actually. And they really came at us. And that is Barnsley's best performance of the season. It will be Barnsley's best performance of the season. And it must be so demoralising because they've lost the game. You've got to give them credit because they came out firing, guns blazing. And they really came at Leeds. They're the best team we've faced this season, which says a lot. That says a lot. They're the best opposition we've faced. They were in our faces, and they came, as I've just said, they came at us with absolute hellfire. And it was one of those where they had to get a result yesterday. They had to get a result because of the performance. Do you know what I mean? Whether or not it even be a draw. Was it probably a 0-0 draw? I'm going to say no, because I thought Leeds shaded the second half. I thought we were much more the authoritative team in the second half. You know, you talk about like a UFC fight. If it was on a point system, I feel Leeds were the better team. I feel we'd have got the decision. If it was a boxing fight, similar sort of thing. I felt Leeds were definitely the better team in the second half. What I will say though is I thought Barnsley won the midfield battle 100%. I thought Jamie Shackleton, bless him, you know, offensively he looks all right with his little runs, his little spurts. And he did nice with, you know, very ambidextrous with both feet, can play with both feet. The problem was, defensively, and every time there was a set piece, Shackleton won't come and ask for the ball. Whereas, because Forshaw is so comfortable in those positions, those little pockets, the experience of the guy, he will get the ball in uncomfortable positions. And there was times where Leeds were in the corner with a throw-in, where you'd have Alioski or you'd have, let's say, Dallas on the other side, who we wouldn't be able to feed an option because you wouldn't get Shackleton coming to the ball, give me the ball. It was sort of maybe not shying away, but not being confident enough to get the ball on the back foot in tight situations and play forward. And I thought there was a serious unbalance yesterday with Leeds United's midfield, and Shackleton, as much as he gives us, you know, energetic and his vibrancy in the football game, in every game he's played, Derby stands out. He doesn't have that technical ability that Forshaw has. You know, how he's able to move the pitch and how brilliantly Forshaw has started the season. And You could see that yesterday. I felt if we had that balance in the midfield, Leeds would have been a lot more comfortable yesterday. But, we had one of our prized assets this season, Adam Forshaw, who was on the bench. Who was injured. I wish he was on the bench. But Leeds grew and grew into the game, and obviously Costa, as I've just said, made a massive difference. I thought Dallas was brilliant again, absolutely brilliant, and obviously a mention to Click as well, who was fantastic. Those two were definitely the dominant forces in the game, and especially in that second half. I thought Pablo was off it once again. We've got to give him kudos because he's 34 years old, but he's definitely not started the season the same way. He definitely hasn't. But the thing is with Pablo is he creates these little moments of magic where you can't argue against him. But performance-wise, I thought he was sloppy. He was giving the ball away. There was a couple of times where they gained a lot of momentum. They were coming forward in that first half very, very quickly. And I thought we gave them a little bit too much. We were sloppy in that first half. And I feel in that midfield, even when Hernandez was coming in to try and infiltrate it a little bit, we were losing the ball too much. And it was giving them a lot. And it was very frustrating to see. Barnsley were growing into the game. And I was surprised they didn't score. If I'm honest, I was stunned they didn't score because they had so many I wouldn't say they were clear-cut chances, and I've said this to one of my mates, it wasn't a clear-cut chance, but I feel like they were churning out good chances. Do you know what I mean? There's a massive difference between a clear-cut and a good chance, A lot of speculative efforts from sort of 30 yards. Jacob Brown sent Casilla into a good save. We know Casilla likes those camera saves. Woodrow shooting from 30 yards. So that's what I mean when I sort of make the difference between the chance conversion rate and sort of how good the chances were. But listen, they were through one-on-one with a couple of good ones. Thomas hit it straight at the keeper. Wilkes with another one hit it straight at the keeper. Free header. I thought we looked susceptible on set pieces yesterday. This is a Barnsley team that haven't scored a set piece in about 12 months. I think they've scored one goal in 12 months from a set piece, and they were very unlucky not to yesterday. But it is land of the giants, and Bielsa's come out and said we are not able to compete with teams like that. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but we're not able to compete on set pieces, and he knows that. And that's the risk he took with not bringing, a large centre half in. Obviously, we've got Ben White now, who's a much better player, but that's the risk we have. That's what we're going to have to take on, unfortunately. So, all in all, did we deserve the win? Yes, for me. Did Barnsley deserve a goal? Yes, I think they did. But Leeds were good. I'd just like to say as well, the steward. There was an incident with the steward, and obviously, hired by Barnsley. A lad was taken out. His hands were up like this, and he was punched by a steward, and it absolutely kicked off. I mean, how stupid can you be? To punch someone, a kid who's just got his hands up in the air, all right, he's been taken out, whatever, over celebration with the goal, but to then punch him in the side of the head, it's an absolute disgrace. And I was at the game yesterday, and it incensed about 100 or 200 Leeds fans that were chasing down, they were trying to get to him, and that's where it started. You could see pockets of fighting in the stands and stuff like that. Yes, there's got to be a little bit more of a restriction policy on letting away fans into the home end, but we didn't have the full allocation yesterday. You've got Leeds fans who want to go to the game. Should they be celebrating in the home end? Should they be goading the home fans? Definitely not. But I don't understand why it always results in fighting. Like, why is that? I mean, why is that always the go-to answer? It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's childish. But this steward, hopefully, he's been named and shamed, and hopefully he's sacked by Barnsley Football Club, because that was an absolute disgrace. And it was, the funny thing is, the Leeds fan actually got arrested, for celebrating the goal, and this Barnsley steward was let go at the end. Very lucky, he had to do that in front of 4,500 away fans. He's just absolutely criminal, and it was disgusting. And it's GBH, so hopefully the guy, what he should be is he should be in a cell and sacked by the football club. Let's see if that happens. Let's see if Barnsley take action on that. But it was an absolute disgrace. I saw the whole thing. And it was just it's very unsavoury scenes, but a lot of it was stimulated by these, I don't know what they were, sort of crowd control. They didn't look like stewards, but yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. But it was a good win for Leeds. I still didn't feel we came out of second gear in the entire game, and it was excellent that Eddie scored. Eddie came on, changed the whole dynamic. Does he start for me? You guys know he starts for me. He just. Halmer was so much more uncomfortable when he came on. Eddie was on for 20 minutes, and straight away Halmer was looking over his shoulder. Eddie was in and out of the channels. He was quick. He was linking up with the midfield. The midfield looked a little bit better. It looked like the gap between the midfield and the attack closed a little bit as well. And yeah, listen, at the end of the day, we've got 3 points. We're in second gear, so you've got to be happy with that. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think on the score. Do you think Leeds deserved the win? If you're a Barnsley fan as well, let me know. I'm interested in what you guys think as well. And I'll see you in a bit.